was supposed to be on the road today, but there's this monsoon-like weather system floating over our very dry air in the valley, and that's causing a lot of problems such as thunderstorms, lightning, and rain. And the weird thing is, this is Central California and toward the end of June. Hey cycling community, this is Steve Grusis the Cycling Greek. Today I was supposed to climb up to the bottom of this 8-mile climb to do my VO2max work that I was starting up again. I just finished my endurance block, my mid-season endurance block. I was looking forward to that VO2max work because of the very tough road race I'm going to have in a couple weeks. But times like this, life just happens and you just got to make adjustments. And so that's what I'm doing now. So I'm hoping to get some VO2max work done in this race. Unfortunately, there were only 7 people in this road race. But with my being 67, I kind of figured I'd probably be the oldest guy here. As it turns out, there's a 61-year-old, and then there's a father and son team, 17 and 48, and a couple of the others that I've seen, I wasn't able to get their age. This road race was 14 and a half miles, and I was starting to get impatient. Now we're finally getting on the road and we're actually officially starting. But I was starting to get impatient because I wanted it to be hard because I wanted to do some VO2max work. Now I kind of figure that I just can't go shooting bullets like I probably will, because at that point then I'll probably get dropped. It wasn't even 20 seconds later that my impatience took over and then I just started to take off. And this wasn't a big attack. I was going maybe 3 watts per kilogram, right around there, and just kind of holding it and seeing what the rest of the people would do. So it's not like I was putting myself into deficit and then have a chance of getting countered. At that wattage, they brought me back pretty quick. I still need to get some VO2max work in, but I also want to get to the end of the race with the pack and not get dropped before then. A little over 2.5 minutes later, I figured it was time to make another effort. It looked like we were coming to the end of a tunnel. And usually at the end of a tunnel, you climb a little bit. Of course, if I looked at the map in the upper right-hand corner, I'd see we wouldn't be climbing because we'd still be in the tunnel on the other end of that little island there. But still, I'm going. And I'm doing something like 3.5 watts per kilogram. But I keep at it. So somebody gets on my wheel, but then I increase the power, and now I'm into the 4 and 4.5 plus. I have no idea what to expect at this point. It could be that I'm off solo for the rest of the race, or it could be that I get a small group that comes with me, or everybody comes with me. Looking at the numbers at the bottom and the data that's on the right side, it looks like there's a split that's happening. If I can get a working group of 3, that'll be the best scenario for me. I'm starting to feel my effort in that 4.5 watts per kilogram is long gone. I don't get my small group, pretty much everybody connects with me. Now, it looks like there's a counterattack, but I think everyone's a little bit tired, and so they just kind of let momentum take them to the front. It's time for me to ride wheels and recover. That was a minute effort. That was perfect for me. Jumping ahead a little bit, I was starting to enjoy my recovery when all of a sudden I see why everyone was being so conservative. Now we're on the end of the tunnel and you have the riser and they're taking off, and now I'm starting to recognize that. So now I have to put another big effort in just to be able to catch them because I'm heading toward Dropsville. In fact, everybody over 60 is in danger of getting dropped. Peter from Germany, the 61-year-old, is behind me by about a second. I'm doing over 5.5 watts per kilogram to catch these guys. And as long as I keep it up and they don't surge before I get there, I should be able to connect. Peter, on the other hand, he's now about 5 seconds back. He is now solo. If I was young Cycling Greek, I would counter everybody right now. But the only reason I'm in the front is because my momentum took me there. Now it's time to recover again. 4 minutes later, we're on the switchback climbs, and I figured this is a great place for me to attack. So I kind of worked my way to the back of the pack so I can get a little bit of a run up. I don't know how much draft there is on climbs like this, but I can use all the help I can get. My attack wasn't one of those 800-watt jumps. It was more of a increase the power and then just kind of sneak off by putting a little more power. I'm keeping my eye on the data on the right and on the map in the upper right-hand corner. I'm looking for gaps. I see I have a 1-second split, but I also see that I've also dialed back and I'm now doing a little over 200 watts. I'm thinking a lot of other people are tired like me because those 1-second gaps seem to be holding. Now, that guy that took off and now he's going after him, and so I'm now thinking, this looks like a counter and I got to be real careful. So now my power is going up because I am again in danger of being dropped. I'm sure these guys don't want people attacking on them, and so they're thinking that, yeah, we're going to counter and we're going to get rid of this guy. If you'll notice my wattage, it's not very high. That's because I'm pretty tired. It took me nearly 2 minutes to catch him. I wasn't doing VO2 max work all the way either. I do some, dial back a bit, recover, do some, dial back a bit, and I really didn't recover all the way to just crawling. I was still going hard, but just below threshold. I was doing over-unders essentially, and that's the workout I was going to do today on the road. Halfway into this race, I see why the reason to conserve in the first half. Now we're hitting the volcano. Spain's Francisco Portillo puts in a huge attack and people are going after him, and now I'm trying to stay with him. So now I'm back in VO2 max. Not because I want to be, but because I have to be. Even though this first one was short-lived, it foreshadows what's to come. Just a little while later, the real fireworks begin. We're a group of 5 now. Francisco again puts in a big surge. I increase my wattage to try and match his. Everyone does. Though I am under stress, I feel like I have plenty of power underneath me, so I decide to put everyone else in stress. I am again hoping to narrow down the field. Not being that familiar with the course, I look ahead and I'm thinking, okay, it's going to top out there, and obviously it's not topping out, but at a certain point it's going to top out soon. Well, little did I know, it's not going to be topping out soon. Can't keep up my effort. I slow up and everyone else goes past me. Well, at least everyone else in our group of 5. There are 2 riders with 6-second gap to me, another 2 riders with about 4-second gap to me. The 2 riders behind me are way back there, so they're not concerned with me getting caught. Up ahead, the elder Clark of this father-son duo is now by himself at about 4 seconds, and I'm looking right at him and hopefully I'm going to catch him. The others have now formed a group of 3. I'm hoping when I do catch him that I can work with him. I slow up a little bit, but I'm seeing that he's kind of gassed right now, so I just keep going. It looks like he's going to catch my wheel, but that's only momentary, so he's dropping back. The others are now about 2-3 seconds ahead of me. I'm going to catch him. Anytime my wattage hits over 290 watts, I'm doing VO2 max. Well, I thought I was going to catch him. One guy dies off, so now I'm in 3rd place and I'm chasing 2. And those guys were within 1 to 2 seconds, and now they're at 6 and 7. Young Clark, the 17-year-old, is the one who put in an attack, and the Spaniard is trying to stay with him. That is making it way harder on me. 45 seconds later, I catch him. Partially because I was going hard, partially because they started to back off a bit, I think. I just need to make it to the top with them, then I'm home free. Home free does not mean I'm going to win the race. Home free means I'll have a chance to win because I'm going to be with them. But that goes out the window because they're now starting to surge. And now the Spaniard's attacking. He's doing over 8 watts per kilogram. Young Clark was doing over 6, and the best I can get was 5. They at the top. I am losing power. And now I got to do whatever I can to cut my losses. I chase for over 8 minutes, and I don't know how, but I catch him. All right, a little over a kilometer to go. Now, these guys have a lot of power. They're younger than I am, but I've got a chance. Not much of a chance, but I got to work with what I got. While I was thinking about where to attack, the Spaniard activates his ghost power-up. Now, I need to be putting in a lot of power because I kind of figure that he's attacking. But I don't have a lot of legs, and I'm hoping this guy doesn't like just go on his wheel. So yeah, he's got some distance on us. I'm following young Clark, and young Clark is trying to get to the Spaniard. While everyone's going faster, I'm thinking if I can get to 0.3 miles to go, I'm going to attack. And I do. In some universe out there in the multiverse, there's some set of circumstances where I come in 2nd place. It's not this universe. The amount of work I put into this race made me forget about the on-the-road workout that I was originally intending to do. The next person to come in was young Clark's father.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The voiceover you just heard for the first race was completed on one day. Now this is the next day where I'm doing the second race voiceover, so hopefully I don't repeat myself too much. I felt a bit unfulfilled after that first race, so I decided to look for a second race, and it just so happened about 10 to 20 minutes later, another race was starting, a 5-mile crit. Keeping in mind that I was pretty rested coming into today that ended up in doing Zwift races, and that I'm 67, also subject to atrial fibrillation, this shorter race did not seem like it was going to create any undue fatigue for my heart, so I signed up. On the one hand, I was very well warmed up. On the other hand, everyone was fresher. In terms of the age distribution of everyone else, we had 19 starters with 16 finishers. Of those 16 finishers, each decade from the 20s to the 60s was represented by 2 or 3 riders. Now, there were 3 that I couldn't determine the age of. Being a 5-mile crit, I figured this was going to be pretty fast. So with the action on the screen, this is what we have. We have a split in the field already. I am with the top 12 people or so, and then there's a 3-second gap increasing to 5 seconds plus for the other people behind us. My goal for this race is to stay with the front group and then vie for some placing at the finish. When I've done Zwift crits in the past, it's been on the standard crit course, the Dolphin crit course I believe it's called. This course I wasn't familiar with, but I figure as long as I stay with the front group, I should be okay. Well, to my surprise, we have a climb. And we're at about just under the 2.5 mile mark of this 5.5 mile race. Everyone else is starting to punch it. I'm a little slow at punching it, and I really don't think I have much of a punch left in me. So basically what I do is just diesel it. I'm hoping that once we get to the top, they'll slow up, and then I'll just be able to roll on to the back of them. By the time I get to the top, they're long gone and I'm gassed. There are people that were right behind me. They're gone. I'm not even able to get on their wheel. I finally get my legs under me, at least try to, and now I'm starting to go after these guys. A little while later, I'm passed by even more people. I look at the data on the right and I see that I'm pretty safe of being passed by anyone else. Except for that guy. I guess the day's a little slow in showing up on there. So now I have a little under 2 miles to go. These guys are going to be my competition for the finish. I also see 2 more riders up ahead. Maybe I can catch them. As it turns out, those 2 that were up ahead added even more distance, so we never saw them after a bit. So now I'm vying for these 2, but I don't have a lot left in my legs. I'm hoping I can get one last run up, get one big surge, and pass these guys up. However, the power I'm now employing is much less than the power that they're employing. There's the finish, there they are up there, and here I am back here. I hope you enjoyed this video and you got something out of it. As always, remember, take care of yourself, watch your heart, and comment, like, subscribe. The Cycling Greek.